Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Chatting from Blank. Thanks to James from Discord for this recommendation on this week's episode, which is going to be on POPCAT. POPCAT, a coin that's gaining a lot of traction as of lately, especially over the past week or so. We saw a almost 600. We just did see a 500% move on POPCAT from the lows, and which actually gave a really nice setup. Unfortunately, I missed. POPCAT is now a top 200 meme coin on CoinGecko, so now valuing at around 350 million market cap. So pushing its way into the bigger leagues, and definitely a coin to keep our eye on. A cat coin which, funnily enough, we don't see too many of these perform too well. Usually it is the dog coins, so maybe something to keep an eye on, right? So personally, I have looked at this chart. I looked at this chart yesterday whilst I was streaming, so I do have some background and roughly know what I'm looking for, but still the point of the episode is to go over this being a fresh chart and give it a blank and clean mindset towards the chart. So looking at the chart on CoinX, given we have the most history, for me it's always important to try and look back on the most history. That goes for all charts. If you're doing starting on a higher time frame analysis, important to know that you are getting as much data from the past as possible. So using from what I could find would be the highest data back towards start of Jan. So we're going to get into it. Clearly we can see, if we're talking about the weekly, probably some weekly resistance towards the 0.4 region as a whole. This whole area on the weekly is definitely a point where POPCAT needs to get above for probably expansion towards that $1 level. I can imagine that is some targets for a lot of people now, would be that $1 whole number, which is very possible given the conditions, but maybe not at the moment with the current market position. One thing that I'd like to point out on the 3-day is the RSI clearly lacking in momentum on this third push up. So a nice place for the market to pull back and give us an entry on POPCAT. So let's mark out some levels that I would be interested in. For sure, we've got this 3-day level here and here. I would say that POPCAT was probably, we had a range form on POPCAT here, and then we sort of deviated, right? A very, very nice power free setup for POPCAT. Accumulation, manipulation, and deviation, and then you get the expansion, right? So now POPCAT, since we broke up, it has retested once, but potentially coming back down to fill that wick. So let's draw these as more of a rounded area for now. For POPCAT, so these are sort of 3-day and weekly levels we're going to be working with here. So if we go onto the lower time frame, onto the daily, as I said, we could see that POPCAT did fill into 0.3 back last Thursday. We did get that retest and a bounce, and we did make a new high, which is nice. Nice to see strength, but since then we are just forming this weak price action, right? Every time we come into this sort of support area, we're breaking lower and lower. So looking at sweeping now into that region, I definitely think it seems like POPCAT wants to break back down towards these lows, potentially even sweep under that low that was left. Another 17% move from here, which is very possible. I would say on the higher time frame now that this is a must-hold level. That's 0.3. Any sort of acceptance back under here you're probably looking at a drop back down towards 0.2, which could be another long point of interest. You wouldn't want to see a deviation above here, but range, deviation, and now we're looking at potentially accepting outside this sort of prior range high area. So daily resistance for me here. Right, so as of right now, you could probably say that we're back in range. So we have a range high formed here and a range low formed here. Yeah. So if we're going to look at a similar thing to play out like it did back during this sort of bracketing period, right? What I would want to see draw the range like that, right? Would be a, the first idea for a long would be a sweep under 0.3 under this current monthly low, and then on a reclaim of that range low, that 0.33 region, that would be a really nice trade for me to take. This definitely looks toppy. This was some toppy PA. Have like this over under set up into the highs, and now we're breaking down towards range lows. So that would be the first setup I would eye here on POPCAT, would be a sweep under 0.3. And then on a reclaim of this range low region, I would take a long and target range high. If we flip above range high, great. You could probably target, 0.6 plus again. As I said on the higher time frame, important that POPCAT does not deviate back under this region. I think if we start to deviate back under 0.3, you can look for that short towards 0.2. But if BTC starts pulling back and we do see a drop into 57, that seems like a fantastic place to bid for POPCAT under this low, right? You could even scale into spot if you want to be aggressive into this region, but for me, it's better to wait for the confirmation after the sweep, the reclaim of 0.33. That'd be my option one. And then we would look higher. If we sort of deviated and, as I say, got stuck, that'd be bad. And you've probably got a big deviation on POPCAT before prices look to move back lower. We can look at the flow here. See if there's anything to notice on the flow. We can see kind of aggressive shorts today. This is a 5 minute time frame, and kind of seeing that sell side is in control, right? Pretty aggressive selling from POPCAT during this price action. This is not something I would personally want to bid into when you have this really strong selling like this. I wouldn't want to bid into something like that until it shows signs of relief. So best to wait for that sweep under 0.3 and a reclaim above here for a long. But it seems like we are seeing some shorts enter down here. That could be a nice sort of intraday trade. This would be the higher time frame side of things. So this would be the higher time frame trade looking for a sweep under here and reclaim. That would be option one, which is the higher time frame plan. The lower time frame plan, I do like the idea of sweeping these lows right here. I do like that we swept under here, so that could set up very nicely, right? I've seen some shorts entering into this sweep. If we manage to reclaim above here, we could probably squeeze them back towards range highs. So that would be my low time frame, and intraday plan would be a break above 0.38. And look for a move towards 0.46. I'm sure that's like at least 20% move, 25%. So that would be plan 2 as of right now. And we can look at the VWAP indicators and then wrap it up. So looking at that 0.3 region, we do have the prime monthly value area high and the developer monthly VWAP towards that 0.26. So that could be, as I said, a sweep under this low and a reclaim. Could give that setup. Yeah, 0.26 seems like a nice place to bounce. You also have the developing yearly value area high, which you can see here. So sweep and run up the POPCAT. I would set some stink bids, right? And just to wrap things up, we can go over the complete plan. So I'd set some stink bids towards 0.26 and 0.25 for some spot. I think if it wicks into that region, it should bounce. If it doesn't fill there, then watch for the sweep and reclaim above 0.33. That's option 1, which is the higher time frame plan. Stink bids towards 0.26 to 0.25 down here. And the intraday plan would be a little low time frame reclaim of 0.38. You can look for the long towards 0.46. And that pretty much sums it up for today's Chime from Blank episode. Make sure you leave some feedback. And if you have any recommendations for next week's episode, please be sure to let me know. Thanks, guys. See you in the next one.